found out that some of this video didn't get recorded, so I'm going to just take you through about 7 books, it looks like, before I finish. So I'm going to take you through the other 2 sort of dystopian books that I read. The first one is Orleans by Sherry L. Smith. This is the story of a young woman who is living in what's called the outer states after a string of devastating hurricanes and the outbreak of Delta fever. This is a futuristic world. The Delta borders have been sealed. The United States has inner states and outer states, and if you live on the outer states, you're on the other side of the wall, and you have like a completely different, 100% different life. Sound familiar? And so Fen de la Guerre is living with her blood tribe in the Delta when they are ambushed and left with her leader's newborn and determined to get the baby to a better life over the wall. Fen meets Daniel, a scientist from the outer states. Brought together by chance, kept together by danger, they are each other's last hope for survival. It was a good story. It reminded me, it had elements of like Beasts of the Southern Wild, if you read that, without all the like intense fantasy stuff. So dystopian, climate fiction. It was good. It was good. Not one of my favorites. I would recommend it. I think that these are the kinds of books that we sort of need to read. So I thought it was fine. Okay. Metatron's Children. This is book 1 of a series written by a Black, queer Canadian called Chai Ryan Spain. And I read this book for the first time during the Read-a-thon. It's a Canadian read-a-thon run by Kayla, and I forget her channel, but she's Booktuber. I will link her below. I was one of the hosts that year, and I think that's the year that I read this. It is a really cool synopsis. The year is 2130, and society as we know it has collapsed. 2 Black non-binary siblings embark on an epic journey to ease the loss of their parents. Along the way, and with the help of a few friends, they unravel a mystery that very well may save what's left of humanity. Metatron's Children is an Afrofuturistic narrative of resilience, resistance, and redemption. I fell in love with these two siblings. The magical element is really, really cool. There's a twist that comes toward the end. It was too short. So I'm really looking forward to the next couple of stories. I'll probably do a full review on this one, but I'm glad that I had an opportunity to read it again. I had an additional opportunity to read the first 60 pages of book 2, which has not been released as yet. So and it just renewed my interest in following along with this story. So you can get this book now. I would suggest that you read it, and yeah, it's great. I'm just gonna make sure that I'm recording. Okay, I'm going to now talk about 2 other ones very quickly. Conjure Island. So this is a middle grade story. It takes place on this island, Gullah Geechee community. Eden Royce has written 3 middle grade books that she's probably written more at this point, much more, but I've read 3 of her middle grades. So I read Root Magic, which was great. The Creeping of Dogwood House, which was great, and Conjure Island, also great. What the stories have in common is that we have children who are very well steeped in African American Gullah Geechee communities, and they are encountering like historical, ancestral magic. And it's just great. I think these books live really well with Zetta Elliott's Dragons in a Bag, like the kind of writing that she does as well. Like if you like middle grade with young people who are encountering their own history, but with a little bit of magic, I think that these are the books you want to be reading. So there's another one, the one who wrote the Jumbies. Yeah, the Jumbies trilogy. I forget her name, but like just magical young children interacting with the land and history and magic. Just, I love those stories. So this was really great. Janelle Monáe, so she created this, The Memory Library and Other Stories of Dirty Computer. I read this also earlier in the year. So she paired up with a bunch of writers like Cherie Renee Thomas and Eve Ewing and Alana Dawn Johnson and a few others, and I guess co-wrote stories with them. It wasn't my favorite. It wasn't my favorite. It was fine. It took me a minute to get through everything. When I started it, like the first couple of stories, I was like, wow, really cool. But what the problem that I had with this is it was hard to understand how the stories connected to each other, number one. But number two, it was the length. It was the length of the stories. So I felt like the stories were too short and too long at the same time. So they were just I felt like a couple of the stories could have been way shorter, more pithy, getting us right into the story and then out. Or novellas, right? So I found that either I got way too much information or way too little information, and I found it a bit difficult to get through some of the stories. But I actually enjoyed the read because I'm a Janelle Monáe fan and I love the world of Dirty Computer, and I thought like that even as I'm talking about it now, I'm remembering scenes from the stories, especially being a memory librarian and accessing dreams and like what happens when you stop people from imagining and dreaming and what it does. And if you watched Dirty Computer, if you watched her emotion picture, then you will like these stories like I did, because these stories are an extension of the worlds that she built. So as a fan of Janelle Monáe, I really loved being able to like remember what I saw in the music video and then read it here and be like, oh my gosh, that's the same scene, or that was what the story was behind it. So it was really cool. And you could see the influences because we know that she was reading Octavia Butler and others at the time that she was writing this or just before she was writing this. And so it's really cool to see Janelle Monáe's exquisite imagination show up in print in this particular way. I just feel like the execution of some of the stories could have been, in terms of the pacing, a little better. But if you are a Janelle Monáe fan and you want to get deeper into that world, you should read this collection. Okay. All right, before I get into the last three books, I'm just going to make sure that I'm recording. Okay. Still recording. Okay. So now I'm going to take you through, I guess, these two books are by Caribbean writers. So the first one is These Ghosts Are Family by Macy Card. And this tells the story of, I think his name is Stanford Solomon. So he leaves Jamaica for London, like a lot of people did. I think that in the Windrush generation, I think that's what it was called. So leaving Jamaica, going to London, his coworker, friend, somebody dies. He assumes his identity and then goes to the States and abandons family in Jamaica and lives his whole other life in the United States. And when he moves to the United States, he ends up meeting his daughter, right? And so there's this whole, these stories of regret that he has because of the choice that he made. But it's not even about this guy only, right? This is a story of stories of people related to this man who have experienced wonderful and traumatic things in their lives connected to that decision. And it also brings in the magical and the fantastical and brings in ghosts. And I found this story really satisfying. It was really interesting, and I would recommend it. The other one that I read, this was a reread for me, this is Redemption in Indigo. So Pama's husband is a fool and a glutton, bad enough that he followed her to her parents' home in the village of Makenda. Now he's disgraced himself by murdering livestock and stealing corn. When Pama leaves him for good, she attracts the attention of the Undying Ones, the Jombi, who present her with a gift, the Chaos Stick, which allows her to manipulate the subtle forces of the world. Unfortunately, not all of the Jombi are happy about this gift, and the Indigo Lord believes his power should be his and his alone, and he sets about trying to persuade Pama to return the Chaos Stick. Okay? And then chaos ensues. And Dr. Karen Lord is a master of her craft. She is an incredible writer. I enjoyed reading this for the second time around. I enjoyed it the first time. It was less confusing the second time. If you want a book that you are going to understand right away, this is not going to be for you. You have to read this. Any of Dr. Karen Lord's work, she writes into the liminal. She brings the fantastical into like every day. She doesn't like spoon feed you the story. You do have to work if you're going to read her work. And so I enjoyed this. I was prepared for it. I suggest that if you want to get into Dr. Karen Lord, you get a sense of what she's written so far and then read the books in the appropriate order. I don't think Redemption in Indigo is the first one that you should start with, but I will have more to say about that at another point. But I did enjoy it as I enjoy Dr. Lord's books. Okay, here's the last book that I'm going to talk about today. This I will only recommend to those of you who are ready to be thoroughly confused. I do not know how to describe this book. In fact, I don't even Google it, honestly. It's like I don't even know. This is ultimately at its core, it's a story about a mother and a daughter. And, the mother has mental health issues. The mother says that she comes from this world that doesn't appear on maps. And then we've got her daughter trying to go back to that place, and it's liminal. The place is there, but it's not really there, and they make gingerbread, and it's a really weird story that I can't describe. Did I like this book? Yes and no. I didn't like it in that it was really hard to understand, and it was so weird. It was just a weird, weird book. And the writing was spectacular. And so I would keep on finding myself being like, oh my God, what's going on? I don't even what is going on. But wow, what an amazing sentence. And ooh, what an interesting image. And wow, that character is really complicated. Ooh, look at that. Oh, that tickled my brain, right? I was rooting for the characters, but I didn't fully know what the hell was going on. So if you're ready to be confused and you want beautiful writing, Gingerbread, Helen Oyeyemi, you're welcome for reading this. I do have another Helen Oyeyemi book, and I am going to read it. I think I watched an interview with her because I was thoroughly confused at the end of reading the story. And I think she was asked by the writer, like, how do you feel about people who can't understand your books? And she's like, they're not for everybody. And, she's brilliant. You should watch her interview. She's brilliant. I want to read more of her writing. I just need to be prepared for it. Okay, those are all the books of the Black speculative element that I have read in 2025. Thank you very much for watching and bearing with me. I know this is a very long video and it will be broken up into parts and it'll be quite chatty. But if you have watched all the way to the end, What I would love for you to do is to tell me in the comments which of the books that I read this year you found the most interesting and will be adding to your TBR. Also, if you'd like to hear reviews, more in-depth reviews of any of the books that I've mentioned, please let me know. I will probably not review all of them. Probably just, yeah, I probably won't review all of them. But if I get enough requests for different reviews, then I will provide those reviews. Until then, I will see you in my next video. Remember to read with purpose, and thank you so much for watching. Bye, everyone.